Hey, Sean, great to see you.
Hey, Kelly, nice to meet with you here on Zoom. It's exciting to talk about that Align-Pilates products and athletic reformer training. And I'll leave it up to you to where to start it.
Well, I just want to make sure that everybody understands what an amazing um, Pilates expert you are and leader in the industry. So, if I can remember everything about you, you have over
Yeah,
20 years of experience. You have your own studio there in Palm Springs called Ecor Fitness, where you
yeah.
teach um, teach regular Pilates practitioners. And then you also are a teacher of instructor or teachers, not instructors, teachers. And
Right.
you go around the country and you're also going to be going and doing some workshops internationally, sharing your expertise. So
Yes,
not
that's
only
the.
that, you are
Mhm.
online. I saw on Bergara.com, people can connect with you there and learn more, not instructors in particular. So what have I forgotten? What else are you doing?
You hit it all. I'm a studio owner here at Ecor Fitness in Palm Springs. It's a great location because I have a lot of the Palm Springs is kind of like the it place to be. So I get a lot of international teachers, travelers, and a lot of domestic teachers as well come to Palm Springs, and they experience my athletic reformer method, which has been really great to help promote the Align Reformer, which is probably one of the best products out there for athletic reformer training. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yes, continuing education provider, on-demand website. All my group classes here that I teach are live streamed, so you can watch them on seanbergara.com. And I have an extensive library, my on-demand videos too. So between all of everything that I do, whether it's a studio owner, whether it's teaching classes, privates, continuing education, as you mentioned, I do workshops. I've got some set up to both domestically and international coming up. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the most important thing is finding time for myself and making sure that I fit in my workouts. Now, the great thing is with the on demand is I'm pretty much working out. Like I'll do like 3 or 4 videos on a weekend, and then I'll work out with my clients anytime I can fit in some demonstration. And by the end of the day, after 10 hours of demonstrating and showing, I'm getting a workout in. So it keeps me pretty fit. And I was telling somebody one day, I said, if I owned a donut shop, I don't think I would be this fit. But because I get to use my product all day long, and my life is so much better with the M8 Reformer by Align Pilates because it is the smoothest and most multifunctional reformer out there. And we'll talk about quality, but this baby has the best quality available on the market.
Oh, it's great to hear you say that. And we are so thrilled to have you as a representative, spokesperson, ambassador for the Align Pilates brand. So let's get going. I want to ask you a few questions about the reformer and some more things later on about your latest gig. So you have the M8 there. Tell us about it. You've had it about 8 or 9 months. How has it held up, and how much have you used it?
So I use it every single day. It's being used for private lessons. It's being used for my personal workouts. And it's also being used for all my on-demand videos. And I will tell you, it feels like I've had it forever. It's like we have a relationship with this reformer because it is, here's the thing. I have taught on so many different reformers, different brands, different heights and sizes and shapes. And I've always been looking for that one reformer that offered both the perfect size, the dimensions, quality, and weight that this reformer offers. Here is what everybody says when they get on it and they do footwork. Wow, this is so smooth. And I say it's the track system, it's the way they've designed it, the just the I mean, if you looked under the carriage and you saw how well it's put together and the engineering, you will be astonished. They took like the best of everything and put it in one reformer. Now, with that being said, I have worked on other Align reformers, and they all have the same quality, the same engineering design, and you can see they're built with love.
Oh, that's great to hear. especially from a pro like you. Now, we claim that the Align Pilates reformers are engineered for every body, meaning
Yes,
not just bodies that look like dancers. Can
correct.
you
And
touch on
that's
that?
why, yeah, well, when we talk about athletic reformer, there's and again, I do more than athletics. I do regular, traditional, and progressive Pilates classes on this machine. And what I want to say that it is designed for every body. First, we talk about the carriage width. With my larger, big, broad shouldered students, my students with a larger body style type, they're going to fit on this carriage. The one thing that I never liked about all the one I've worked in the past is that the carriage is inset on the frame. So for my broad shouldered students, wider rib cage students, their arms were always rubbing on the frame. So with the frame going over, it's actually a lot better for width and also better for comfort. Now, the shoulder rests are a little bit more thicker and more cushiony. And that is a benefit for me and my students specifically because when I add extra spring tension, and when we say extra spring tension, it's totally dependent on what the student wants. But the other reformers, when I do heavy spring tension, this is uncomfortable. The Align M8 specifically has a really thick, cushiony, so they're not feeling like a lot of neck pain and shoulder pain pressing into a hard surface. It's like a hug, somebody said. It's like, oh, these feel good when I'm pressing heavy spring tension.
Love that.
The other thing I think is paramount for more of a athletic approach is having a riser. Are these in? Yeah, you can see these. These risers are so sturdy. They're much wider and heavier maple. So when I do heavier loads, they don't bend like the other reformers that are made of wood. They're a much better quality. And I can just keep going on and on and on about the quality of this machine. So I think the top points are for athletic work is a heavier duty risers, the thicker reformer shoulder pads, the broader and wider and thicker. And this is an interesting thing that I didn't experience on any other reformer is the type of density of foam. Most reformers have wood and a 1/4 inch medium to low density foam. This one is, and I know I'm talking in inches and the rest of the world in centimeters,
That's
but
okay.
maybe 2 finger distance of high density foam. So even though it appears to be harder, what it is with my heavier students, whether it's body mass or muscle mass, on the other reformers, their knees go right through the thin foam and they're kneeling on the wood. With this heavier quality high density foam, people will say, oh my gosh, I don't need a knee pad.
Oh, nice.
So it's the details like this that Align has put into this reformer that makes it exceptional and makes it better for, as we said in the intro, all bodies. The other thing is this ease. Let me make sure this is out. This is so easy to be able to change it while you're working with students. And the gear bar out of every reformer I've ever used, that is probably the easiest gear bar to move. So quality far surpasses any of a reformer I've ever used. The dimensions, the engineering, and just the overall quality of this specific reformer, the M8, is for all intents purposes the most versatile reformer when you're going from classical all the way to athletic reformer work. It's definitely my go-to, and I will never ever go back to any other reformer unless, of course, I'm teaching a workshop and that's what they have. But I just recently did a workshop and they had all Align, and it was just, I remember just getting on them going, if I could just do this all the time and have every studio at my workshops have Align, I would be a much happier person. They're
Oh,
that great. Yeah.
love hearing that. So
Good, good.
to think about the people out there who are considering purchasing a reformer and they're shopping,
Hmm.
what would be the three key things or questions to ask when they're shopping, whether they're an at-home purchase, it's for
Yeah,
at-home
right.
or for studio?
Yeah. Well, this is the great thing about the Align Reformer. And when I was testing them all out, I got the wonderful opportunity to travel and test all of the reformers out. I couldn't really tell the difference between an at-home and a commercial. That's how good the quality is. And with my subscription service and people finding me on social media and asking me what my reformer is and why I'm referring it, I have had so many people at home, per se, buy the M8s and buy the other metal reformers from Align, and they will say, "Wow, this feels like a studio quality, even though it's at home." The quality is amazing, and I will tell you, doesn't really matter whether you're buying a studio for a home or an at home for a home, you're gonna get the best quality. It'll far surpass anything you've used. So I am really bad at the names and the numbers, but the collapsible travel one that like pulls in
Fold,
and
the one
out,
that
tell me that.
folds?
Yeah, that one I was apprehensive to because I didn't get an opportunity to work on that, to say, hey, I trust Align. I've been on the reformers. I can pretty assure you that it's going to be a good quality. And that's far surpassed my students' uh, belief that they could buy an at-home collapsible foldable reformer and it be that good.
Nice.
So now when it's really a challenge to try to say what I would recommend for studios,
Not necessarily
because
recommend. What's the questions they should ask, to be honest?
what should they ask?
Yes.
Well, who we asking? Are you saying the studio owner is asking Align?
Yes, just when they're shopping for a reformer, should they ask about what are the product attributes that they should be really making sure that this, and this?
There isn't really specific because each studio has their own unique style. Whether you want a tower edition, whether you need the converter pads, I mean, it's dependent on what they want. If you're going to get a studio that's going to have everything in it, athletic, classical, traditional, you're safe with any of their studio reformers. But you kind of want to go and find out what is your look and what is your functionality of the machine. That's really important because the look I have at my studio is wood
Mhm.
and black. Uh, I wasn't wanting a metal, but I've gone into studios where they've got the metal reformers and they look great.
Yeah, I've
So
got the
it's
metal
really a
ones.
personal preference of the look and what it is they're going to be doing with that reformer. If they're
Okay.
going to stick to an all classical or more athletic approach, then that's something that I think all the reformers have the capabilities to be multifunctional.
Okay. Let's transition now. That's a great
Okay,
overview. So thank you for all your detailed
sure.
expertise on what to consider and think about for the Align reformers. But let's talk about you a little bit. What your latest gig and jam is athletic reformer. So what is that all about?
So, athletic reformer is taking the basic foundation of strength training and applying it to the reformer itself. The primary teaching method that I profess is if the resistance or spring tension applied to the body is greater than your ability to follow healthy principles of movement, i.e., the Pilates principles, which is breathing, control of movement, precision, fluidity. Those are so important. If you want to do an athletic workout on the reformer, that I want the principles of Pilates that have been set to be the primary foundation. Now, what's the difference between like a traditional Pilates class on the reformer and an athletic Pilates class on the reformer is repeat sets, options to alter your spring tension up or down. And I don't dictate spring tension. I get all of my students to understand their personal spring tension and what works for them, because I may have a 6'4" student here and a 5'2" student here. And obviously their limb length is different. So that's going to affect spring tension, and their power output is different, and their body mass and what they're looking for are different. So the great thing about athletic reformer is we're going to get some of those classical, some of those traditional, some of those contemporary and progressive moves, and we're going to allow them to repeat the sets instead of just doing 5 to 10 reps, which is more traditional, and moving to the next exercise. We're going to pick a muscle group or groups, and we're going to build strength. So we're going to do repeat sets. We're going to circuit it. We're going to do different variations of it, so you can get some onset muscle soreness. But as I mentioned before, the primary foundation of an athletic reformer workout is precision of movement. It's not just a boot camp on the machine, which I have seen. And the one thing I love about the Align is it can be transitioned so wonderfully between the floor, between the reformer, and the sitting platform. I can't even tell you enough how much I love that. So there's a lot of great options for building in a more athletic approach on the M8, and also providing students with the strength that they're missing in a traditional or classical Pilates class.
Amazing. So it brings a whole bunch of more people into the world of Pilates. So
Oh yeah.
share what you have going on. How can people learn more about athletic reformer with you and all the workshops and things you have going on, and how to connect and learn from you internationally, like from all areas?
There's a couple options to connect with me. I always say find me on social media. On Instagram, I'm when I have the time, I'm on there as much as I can, just to kind of keep connected and to help inspire and be inspired too. So Instagram, I have SeanBergara.com, which is my on-demand website that offers both online courses, options to register for live in-person workshops. As I mentioned before, I've got daily live stream classes. They're recorded and downloaded every day, and my on-demand video library of over 1,000 videos. So that's how I can continue to connect with people. And that social media aspect is really important, so we all can kind of collaborate together and work together. And with that, I get the opportunity to travel both domestic and international to be able to teach the athletic reformer programming style and make sure it follows that foundation we talked about of remaining with the Pilates and healthy movement principles.
Well, Sean, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for your very precious time with your schedule. I'm so grateful to have you on here and to be able to share this. And we will have it on our website, on probably our YouTube channel. I'm sure you're going to be sharing this interview as well. So thank you again, and look forward to staying connected and sharing your content.
My pleasure. And let's do this again. I'd love to reconnect. I'd like to maybe kind of talk about some more future projects that we can do together to get the word out at how great the Align products are. I think it's vitally important, especially here in North America, to let people know there finally is an exceptional reformer out there that meets the needs of today's teacher and student.
That's fabulous. Thanks so much, Sean. Have a great day.
All right. Bye, Kelly. You too. Bye-bye.